Hello there, Internet. My name is Mogwai, and ahead of us lies yet another brilliant day in the arena. As today we're going to continue showcasing our rotation-proof decks, getting ready for the incoming expansion and rotation as well. And we're going to showcase a deck that I just absolutely love. I know I say this a lot, man, but this deck is so dope. It's built around JHOIRA, the Ageless Innovator. And now, before I actually dive into the deck, I do want to address something. Yes, I am running 2 copies of Storm Carved Coast. And I know there's already somebody in chat, like if I was streaming. I already know that there's somebody, watching. Let's call you Rupert. Rupert just like, wow, he said this deck was rotation proof, but he has 2 cards that are going to rotate out. Disingenuous title, disingenuous YouTuber. Shut the fuck up, Rupert. First of all, your name is Rupert, so you just stop talking. Second of all, take out 2 Storm Carved Coasts, add in an island and a mountain. Notice how it's not going to really affect things 99% of the time. And just shut up, man. Like, seriously, it's just 2 lands, okay? Deal with it. I do want to play this land now that I can. Because it does make the deck a little bit more consistent, but just a little bit, all right? And it's not essential by any means. So if you're seeing this deck after rotation happen, take out the Storm Carved Coast and add in 2 basic lands, and you're good to go. Let's talk about the deck, because this one is really hype, man. It's built around JHOIRA, Ageless Innovator. 2 mana, Izzet, 2/3 legendary human artificer with an ability that says if you tap her, you put 2 ingenuity counters on JHOIRA. And then you can put an artifact card from your hand onto the board without paying or anything if X is equal to or less than the amount of ingenuity counters on JHOIRA, X being the mana cost of the card. So to clarify this, if we play JHOIRA and we, the turn pass and then we untap, she loses the summoning sickness and we can start using her ability. We tap her. And then the first time with 2 ingenuity counters, we'll be able to play for free a 2 mana artifact or less from our hand. That includes 8 different artifacts here. I mean, there's 2 of them, but 4 copies of each. Legion Extruder and Gleaming Geardrake. Both are 2 mana artifacts, and we can play them at instant speed. It's not just being able to play them for free. What makes this effect so powerful is that it's an instant, because it's an activated ability. So the fact that we can trigger and summon a bunch of these artifacts that have strong upon entry effects, and we can do so at instant speed, will really throw the opponent off guard. If JHOIRA racks up those ingenuity counters, the opponent just will have no idea what to expect, and it'll put us in a very powerful position. JHOIRA can be answered though. JHOIRA is a 2-drop, 2/3. She's vulnerable to not only just standard removal, but also even the likes of cut down from black. So what do we do about that? We run protection. We run a full set of Shore Up, and there's 2 reasons why we're playing this. Reason number 1, we protect JHOIRA. We give her +1/+1 and hexproof, which allows us to dodge single target removal. But then read the last line right there. Untap it. That's where the synergy gets crazy. Not only can we protect JHOIRA from removal with Shore Up, we can re-enable her. And we're not just re-enabling her. Every time JHOIRA taps, she's adding 2 more ingenuity counters. So just to give you a very simple case that will happen a lot, you have JHOIRA, you tap her, you put 2 ingenuity counters. Let's say you drop in Legion Extruder or whatever. You Shore Up, you untap her, and then you tap her again. She gets 2+ counters, and all of a sudden we can drop either the Detective Satchel, the Simulacrum Synthesizer, the World Walker Helm, or the Braided Net, or even one of these 2 again. The same goes if she has 4. If she taps for 4, we play one of these, and then we Shore Up, we untap, and then we tap her again, and we get to play one of the big boy artifacts. And that's, like, the synergy is just absurd how good it is. Like, it really is. And I feel like JHOIRA really adds to, like, what is already an established, artifact shell. We are building around Simulacrum Synthesizer. Those of you wondering, oh, man, I thought you were going to be original and play like an artifact. Like, I'm not going to not play good cards, Timmy. For fuck's sake, man, I can't. Like, this card, you cannot design a serious artifact deck like this and not run the Simulacrum Synthesizer. You just can't. Like, this card fits this deck like an absolute glove. It works so well with JHOIRA, Ageless Innovator, because we can play it and then we can spawn heavy artifacts for free. So we accelerate the synthesis. I can't even pronounce that, but I think you understand what I'm saying. We enhance the synthesis, and we enhance our board state, and we just make it so that our opponent cannot come back. This is a deck that, by placing these artifacts, a lot of these artifacts generate you value over time. Not only the synthesizer, but for example, the Detective Satchel is an artifact that I've really grown to love. It allows us to investigate twice upon entry, but then every time we sacrifice an artifact in that specific turn, we can tap this to create a 1/1 colorless Thopter flying artifact token, essentially. Like you can see it if I click here, you'll be generating that. You know, instead of me talking, you can just look at the picture and get that information in your head. As we can play, you know, a bunch of like strong artifacts that have the ability to constantly generate as value, and that allows us to grind out most mid-range decks out there. And because we're playing artifacts, it also allows us to dodge a lot of removal from other mid-range and or control decks too. We are vulnerable to aggressive decks, but JHOIRA into Legion Extruder can really allow us to mitigate that. Once we get going, once we develop that synthesizer and we start playing our artifacts, we just generate tremendous value, tremendous momentum. It's all about overcoming the first couple of turns, right? Which can be easier said than done when you're facing mono red, but Legion Extruder as a full set does help us out a lot in that regard. And sometimes you just got to take the beating for a little bit, you know, pump up the JHOIRA, and then we get going. Because not only do we have Legion Extruder to deal damage, we're also playing the motherfucking Magmatic Galleon. I'm gonna stop swearing so much in this video, but I'm really excited about this deck, okay? The Magmatic Galleon, when it enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and then whenever one or more creatures your opponent controls are dealt excess non-combat damage, you create a treasure token. So when this comes in, if it hits anything that has less than 5 health, we'll be generating a treasure token. That's very relevant because that can allow us to ramp, but it can also allow us to enable the Satchet by sacrificing the artifact. We can convert the artifact into a golem with a Legion Extruder. As you can see, like, we have so many artifacts that just constantly have activated abilities that can allow us to net us more and more value as the match goes. The Might and the Weak Stone is there because it also functions like a Magmatic Galleon. It can -5/-5 something, or it can draw us cards, and then we can use it to generate mana for our artifact spells, or more importantly for our activated abilities, which cost mana. We have Chimil the Inner Sun as a one-off, as a high-end artifact to slam down, and then just have a card that's just like a Virtue of Persistence, really, but artifact edition. We're just generating, you know, we're discovering 5 at the end of every game, so we're just not running out of gas ever. And this deck is all about stabilizing. If you can manage to stabilize, you're good to go. We play a one-off of Plaza of Heroes to protect JHOIRA, but the Shore Up is the main protection right here. As we have, we also have Altawara. I went on a ramble about Stormcarved Coast. We're also playing another land that's going to rotate. Swap it with an island, and leave me alone. As we have a one-off of Akalpakal, which is a very, very nice, very underrated, I believe, card draw engine for artifact decks that can fit this deck really well, because a lot of times with JHOIRA, we're playing our artifacts for free, so we get to play Akalpakal that turn as well, and we can play artifacts at instant speed, which allows us to enable the effect more often. Keep in mind that this triggers at the beginning of your end phase, so don't be like me. I make this mistake all the time, in which I don't generate, for example, like the Thopter until the very end of the game, of the turn, and then a Akalpakal doesn't trigger. So make sure you do that in the main phase and not in the end phase, because otherwise you will be missing out on a free draw, and it's better than a draw because you're choosing between 2 cards, so it's an amazing effect in that regard. And that's the deck right there. Warwalker Helm allows us to, you know, generate extra map tokens, which just goes crazy with the synthesizer. A lot of the core of this deck is pretty established for artifact. This deck is very expensive, but there's a lot of cards that you will not go wrong in crafting, like the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, the Simulacrum Synthesizer, the Worldwalker Helm. None of this is rotating. The Braided Net, even Chimil the Inner Sun. These cards, you know, Legion Extruder. There's a lot of mythics and rares here. I'm not gonna lie. But if you're into artifact decks, then these are cards that you're going to find yourself using again and again and again and again, you know, because this is going to be the face of artifact decks in standard for the foreseeable future, and it's definitely a good investment for you to make. And I'm going to end the deck tech right there. I'm going to let the game speak for itself. You're going to see JHOIRA Shore Up in action. Really, really crazy combo, man, that I'm surprised I don't see more often. I don't see JHOIRA at all. And I think she's a great addition to this sort of archetype, and I'll let the games speak for themselves. Love you. Have a solid day. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Magic the Gathering content. Hope you enjoy today's games. I'm running out of breath here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, here we go. There was a bit of lag there. No. Stop. Tap, tap. I clicked on... That's not ranked, right? I don't know why Arena does this. Like, every time like I restarted, like, it sets me on, like... No, not... Ranked. Okay. We dodged the bullet there. Alright, here we go. It's the hype. It's the hype for playing this deck. It's the best of me. Come on, that is a dope ass deck. I probably say that every time. I say whatever. We go first. I'm gonna keep because it's a 3. It's a 3-lander. And I'm going first, so I have a turn 3 play. If I'm feeling a lot of aggression, I can play Braided Net, the Might Stone, and the Weak Stone. I feel like this is, considering our hand, this is not the kind of card that we need right now. It sucks to surveil it away, but I'm definitely glad I did. As I top deck into the Gleaming Geardrake, we see a Copperline Gorge. A lot of times this can fool you into thinking you're facing Gruul, but you're just facing a variation of mono red. But no, it is actual real Gruul. Okay. I'm going to swing first with the Gleaming Geardrake, and then I'm going to play my Simulacrum Synthesizer. I'm going to scry 2. I'm going to get that land over there. And honestly, like, I'm going to drop that other artifact, because at this point, we're curving out into bigger stuff. We can set up the Thundering Falls first and surveil. We see a Magmatic Galleon, though we just do not have the mana for it, so we're going to drop that as well. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play the Braided Net. We're gonna hold back because we want to be using this. I could have paused them there. Okay, now they're scrying. I should have paused at the beginning of their turn to do this, but we can do it now. Now that they play a land that gave me initiative. We tap JHOIRA, Font of Hope, because you can tap to cast an angel. So we deny their ramp. They destroy a unit, but this Simulacrum Synthesizer is just completely getting out of hand. You know, I said I replaced this, but now I'm actually happy that I have it. Because being able to deal with that is pretty neat. And what I'm gonna do, I could generate yeah. I could just win. Like, what I was thinking was I could sack the Clue and draw a card to get more damage off of this, or I could sack the Clue with the Legion Extruder and create a 3/3. But I think at this point, I had 4 mana. I wanted more mana. I think ultimately this play was better though, just making sure that my board was always strong, and they just could not come back from that. That's the power of this artifact. It's meta for a reason, and honestly, if you're playing an artifact deck of this nature, not playing this card is kind of silly. Round 2 against Maelstrom. Yeah, I actually pronounced that right. We keep. We have JHOIRA. We see the Jetmir's Garden. We lead off with the Thundering Falls. Our rotation land is here. And to be honest, I'm going to keep it, as my next series of plays are pretty set. I want to make sure I can curve out easily. JHOIRA, the Ageless Innovator, goes in. We have no protection from her, but because we have the Simulacrum Synthesizer, if they spend mana to remove her this turn, then we can develop this no problem. That's why JHOIRA plays really well into this. Like, even if you can't protect her, she represents such a threat, like a must-answer threat, that it will lead a lot of times to your opponent tapping out. and giving you room to play the Simulacrum. Because the only weakness this card has is the fact that it doesn't really have an impact on the board the same turn it's played, right? Unless you chain it with something else, but you have to have a lot of mana for that. So it's a do-nothing play initially, but that small price to pay is easily mitigated later down the line. A hand with double Simulacrum Synthesizer is a terrifying hand at that. They go for another one there. And what we're going to do is we're going to play the Storm Carved Coast. And we're going to play the Simulacrum Synthesizer. We're going to scry 2. There's the Shore Up. I love that Shore Up. I'm going to keep that Shore Up there. Because Shore Up not only offers protection, it also allows us to drop some big stuff later down the line. Bristling Backwoods. They seem to be pure Naya. Fight rigging. Oh boy. With no creature on board. Huh. And now at the end of their turn, I will tap JHOIRA and give her 2 Ingenuity counters. Now we have protection for her as well. So we're dropping this island. We're playing the Simulacrum Synthesizer again, which will allow us to scry once more. There's a Legion Extruder, but right now what we're doing is we're fishing for big boy artifacts. That's what we want. With JHOIRA, we will be able to play this World Walker Helm for free, and we have protection for her as well. Nahiri's Resolve. Creatures you control get +1 and have haste. At the beginning of your end step, exile any number of non-token artifact and/or creatures you control, and you return them. Okay. So now, at the very end of our turn, we activate JHOIRA, and we bring this in, triggering both the Simulacrum Synthesizers and setting up a lethal. Nice setup, bro. Too bad. You're just gonna die. The power! Clean. Punish the greed. Ender. With that Phyrexian avatar. I like the Phyrexian race. It's pretty cool. This hand does offer answers to early aggression with the double Legion Extruder. We keep the JHOIRA there. Let's be real, she's probably going to be removed. But we play her anyways. We're gonna try to burn him down. Another JHOIRA there can be played alongside the Legion Extruder potentially. We're gonna go for another one here, eliminate that. This Phyrexian Arena is just giving them so much juice though, and the Phyrexian Flesh Gorger is definitely threatening. Let's see if they happen to have another source of removal here. It seems like they do. A Virtue of Persistence, very powerful. They're gonna get 3 health back. We have no choice but to Magmatic Galleon. We will pay the life to deal with the ward. And we will generate a treasure token. I'm going to trigger the Legion Extruder as I play the Detective Satchel. And I'm going to sack this clue. And then I'm going to crew the Magmatic Galleon. And I'm going to try to swing. And I'm going to trigger this now. All right. Thundering Falls first, surveilling 1. World Walker Helm. We generate a Thopter here. This is a grind. This game's going to be a grind. The moment they play that Virtue of Persistence, they're going to start going pretty crazy. I'm going to take this hit. Develop that threat, but as long as we have blockers into it, we'll be fine. And these shore-ups are actually going to come into play. But we have to do things right. We have to tap 2, sack this, generate that, create another copy of that, generate this, we have another Satchet there that can actually be pretty good. And we're lining up defenses here. We have shore up for removal, and now we have blockers into this thing with Menace. We're gonna hold everything back. This Phyrexian Arena has just like been bonkers this game. Ah! I thought we were on our way to coming back to this game, but damn, man. That's the first time I see that card. Corrupt. Yeah, we ran into somebody who had, like, honestly, like a very greedy deck with the Phyrexian Arena, but we just were not able to apply pressure. One could say that I may have, like, jumped the gun with JHOIRA, and I should have waited perhaps to draw into some shore-ups considering the black matchup. And that's something that's definitely an approach I could have taken. It could have allowed me to play more high tempo later down the line if I would have been able to protect her. But they had a lot of removal though. Yeah, they had like it was a rough matchup, and we didn't draw according to it. All right, next one. Rendol from Japan, I assume. We're gonna keep. We got protection here for a Calipacala potentially. We're gonna lead off with the Thundering Falls. We're gonna keep you. Oh yeah. Let's be patient. I see an overgrown farmland. I'm not expecting them to have immediate removal, but they could easily have it. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna drop you. I'm gonna wait 1 turn so I can play JHOIRA. You know, having both JHOIRA and Shore Up, this is why we run both as a 4 of, so they can align into my hand early on a lot. I'm willing to take one extra turn. Whenever we're enchantments, okay. They definitely have like enchantment-based removal, so we have to be wary of that. There's the simulacrum synthesizer. Honestly, I can play this later. I feel like right now, clearing this board. And response, I tap JHOIRA. Yeah. Got rid of that. Got rid of that threat. With JHOIRA, I'm able to just turbo into these. Like, I'm not gonna play this Shore Up unless she gets targeted by something. Oh yeah. It's not just the fact that we protect her, it's the fact that we untap her. Like, the synergy is exceptional with this card. And at the very end of their turn, we tap her again. And this scry effect is gonna be really important. We want the big stuff. You hear me? We want the big stuff. With the Kalpa Cow as well, we need the big boy artifacts. Or they can just call it a day. That's what the Shore Up synergy is all about, man. It's protection, but also re-enabling her. It's just absolutely wild. Gaki. I'm gonna keep. It's a bit of a greedy hand. But it does have some early plays. We see Azorius. That leads me to believe this could be a control deck. Or something else entirely. Interesting. I'm going to develop the Gleaming Gear Drake, who will investigate upon entry. I'm a little bit worried about them having a bunch of counter spells and me being unable to play the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. We have no JHOIRA in hand. So I'm going to attempt to play the Braided Net. Before I attack, in case they have a flash effect, basically. If they have like a flash flyer, I could use Braided Net to prevent it from blocking into this. That's why I sequence like that. They definitely seem to be a control deck, but they're playing the Sanctuary Wall as like a defender. It's not a bad defender. It's a little bit expensive, but it can block out some aggression. I mean, it kind of gets eaten alive by mono red though after some buffs. I'm not sure how efficient it is. Here it's not really doing much against us. It's just there. We have a flyer. We have 5 lands, which enables the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. But I'm not going to resort to the Braided Net unless I need to use it. The Surge Engine. Okay, no, this is not an Azorius control deck. This is legitimately a defender deck. Legitimately a defender deck. So this Braided Net is going to be really important. I'm going to develop the Siobhan Reef. I'm going to attempt to cast the Legion Extruder. Though I am going to try to... No, I'm going to try to go with this. This is a threat. Oh. Okay. They get 2 exile, then it returns after. Right now, that defender prevents my golems from really accomplishing much. Probably just better off drawing. Even though I can use the braided net to power through their blockers, that thing is a threat. So I need to be able to tap it. I need to be able to tap it because the surge engine, they can start using the mana to pump it up. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna play the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. I'm gonna call it a turn. I can use the Might Stone and the Weak Stone to bop these clues. We got grifted. We got shifting grifted. What the fuck? Do I need the card draw as much? I think I need some board presence. So I'm going to use the mana from this to enable the Legion Extruder. I'm going to sack the clue to generate, you know, they only have two counters left on this. I could be countered here. But I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to try to do this. And I'm going to draw 2 cards. Now we're talking. I don't really care about Merrick's. We have these blockers. We're good in that sense. The shifting grift definitely hit us hard, but we can withstand this. They have 4 cards in hand, and this in exile, flying, vigilance, and ward, but it's just a 4/4. A Pakal is really neat here. And that's completely fine. That is so damn fine. A Pakal, the first among equals, will be a draw engine here. We have a JHOIRA, the Soaring City, that can return that later. But now I'm going to play the Legion Extruder. We play an artifact to go face because this will trigger a Pakal and will allow us to continue to generate value. And I like that. Detective Satchet. Satchel. English. Now I'm going to discard Otawara, the Soaring City. really sad this land's gonna rotate because it does a lot here. Because we're gonna be able to return the braided net that they stole from us back to our hand. Isn't that wonderful? We keep drawing lands, but now having this braided net back is huge. We have 2 mana left on that. So we're going to develop the Thundering Falls and Surveil. Get rid of that land. We already have a lot of those. And we're not going to trigger that. Like, this is really important. Like, the way this works, because we've already developed an artifact, we'll trigger a Kalpa here. Holy Mother of Flood. It's fine, though. It's fine. We're bypassing all that. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate it. Okay. Now they attack with that, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna sack one of these clues, and we're not gonna draw, we're gonna generate a body here. And then because we sacrificed an artifact this turn, we get to activate this ability, which allows us to spawn a Thopter. And we'll be utilizing this Thopter to chump block you. And now a Kalpa just being this value engine that keeps picking me lands. Like, what the fuck? A Kalpa, what is this? There we go. I mean, you know, not really great timing, but I'll take it, I guess. Mana is definitely not an option, not a problem here. I kind of want to draw, man. That's good. Let's play Merrick's. Want to keep this Plaza of Heroes to protect our legendary creatures here. Let's generate you. To trigger a Kalpa, and then we can trigger Merrick's for the following effect. I'm gonna keep you in the back, but I'm gonna attack with you. Trying to put them a little bit more on the clock here. We can fall asleep. And now a Kalpa will trigger again, and surely he'll start picking up artifacts for us. There we go. We flooded like crazy this game. Like, it just shows 27% chance to draw a land. Like, out of the 30 cards. Like, there it is. This braided net really buying us time here. Otherwise, this thing would put us on quite the clock. They do get to use it to draw 3 cards, but that's only something they can only use that once. That ability can only be used once, but it does allow them to refuel. But this is the moment where they're wide open as well. And at the end of their turn is when we do our thing. We want to be spawning. No, we let it go by. Okay. We stabilized. IBN Wally acting all mysterious and shit as it's a bit of a slow hand, which concerns me. But having all these lands here, maybe I should have dropped that land, to be honest. I need to read this. I'm not exactly sure what I'm facing here. I'm gonna play my Gleaming Gear Drake. Lose all abilities and it's a 1/1 citizen. Okay. Legitimate business person. Well, that sucks. I don't like being that. Now, I could develop JHOIRA. Because I won't be able to play the Mind Stone until next turn. So I'm going to try to play JHOIRA now. And see if she doesn't get answered. So this feels like this entire deck is going to rotate.
I see a path to allies everywhere. Stand with us.
I'm going to take this hit for now. I can still use this as a blocker. Okay. I need one more turn. I need to not die this turn. And I really want JHOIRA to live.
Break free and fight.
Forest and that, okay. You're at 6, so she cannot ult yet. Okay. Okay, so they're gonna buff that. I could block with JHOIRA, but I don't know if they have like any ways to buff things, so I'm just not going to. I'm not gonna put her in harm's way. I'm gonna take this hit. And at the very end of the turn, I'm gonna tap her. This shore up is absolutely essential here. Here's what we're gonna do. Detective Satchel. Countered. JHOIRA ability. Triggered once. Shore up. Again, 2 more. No, and now we get to play this. Oh yeah, and the magmatic galleon. I can't target that. I gotta target one of these. And we pass.
I see endless rot and rebirth.
And we got him! And we got him, baby!